Hey everybody, it's Steve with Far Too Loud AV DJ. As promised, I'm finally doing this video on how to clean and maintain your analog mixers and boards, and pretty much any analog gear really. This applies to any kind of rack mountable gear as well, such as gates, compressors, EQs. Same principle applies. It's actually been a while since I've cleaned and maintained this mixer, and it's actually been a really good while since I've used about 2 of these channels, because usually I'll use like the first 2, or I'll use these down here for stereo, but these 2 don't really ever get used, and at a recent gig I noticed that they're pretty dirty, and I'll show you why. So I am recording the sound, that's why it's all plugged in here, and I've got the headphones so I can hear what's happening as well. So I will also use this as a demonstration to the process of powering your amplifiers and mixers and everything on when you're powering up a system. Always power your mixer on before you power up your speakers or amplifiers, and this is why. And you always turn off your amplifiers and first before turning off your mixer. Always turn off your mixer last, and this is why. Because of those little pops, and that can actually really damage your system as well. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. So I'm going to turn the master up. And there's going to be some hiss in here. Now this mixer is actually surprisingly pretty clean for it being an analog mixer. And I will say one thing, you guys cannot hear this, but I never use the headphones on this thing. There's a lot of crackling and stuff going on when I'm doing this. And that's why another thing we're gonna show you on how to clean as well, are the pots or potentiometers. All right, so we have our master up. Let's see. So I don't really hear any crackling or anything with this one. It's usually pretty well maintained and used as well. I need to actually clean the surface of it too. This mixer has seen a lot of things on the road, indoor, outdoor, all kinds of different things. All right, so let's just go down the list here. So we're gonna do, start from this side. Okay, so that fader sounds pretty clean. Let's check the gain on it. Don't hear any sound. Balance. Nothing. High. Low. A little stiff, but I think it's just how they are. Oh, sorry, that's medium. This is low. Monitors, I'll have to check. We'll check here in a little bit because I have to swap these outputs. So let's move on down to the next one. Oh, I hear some crackling there. Yep. You hear that? There's definitely some crackling going on. Listen to that. So that's what we're talking about. That's a dirty fader right there. There's probably some dust or just a little something in there, but it's keeping that contact from making as you swipe it up and down. And also notice whenever you're testing these things, you know, operate as you normally would, but also kind of push it to one side or the other as well. Because you have your left channel and your right channel. So actually it's one fader, but it still has two channels on it. Alright, so we know that's dirty. Let's check gain. Yeah, I hear a little bit of crackling on that one. Not really anything there. Let's try balance. A little bit on the EQ. Okay. Let's try this one. Yep, there's some crackling in there. Oh, listen to that. Oh, wow. That's bad. Definitely has some crackling in there. And here's another thing too. And the reason I say to push it left or right is because also if there's a break in connection due to a dirty channel, This can also actually eliminate sound out of one of your channels. So you might, if you ever hear, you know, if you turn the volume up a little bit or something, or nudge it, sound cuts out of, you know, one speaker or the other. That's why. So that's what we're doing this. All right, and the real ones here. Oh, that was one of them. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh wow, that's bad. Listen to that. Yep, there's some on this one too, isn't there? Well, there's a little bit in this one. Alright, so we know most of these channels do need to be cleaned, some more than others. Real quick though, I'm going to check the monitor feed as well. So, alright, we don't have anything right off the bat there. Just a little bit of noise, and I actually cannot hear this, just FYI. So I'm actually just watching the meters on my laptop here. I don't see anything significant there. But we're going to clean all of them, and I'm not going to show you me cleaning all of them, and I probably didn't show you of me testing all of them because it does take some time, and it's been about 10 minutes already. But I just want to give you some examples of the dirty channels and what some dirty pots sound like and dirty faders. Also, there is a possibility that you have dirty inputs as well. Usually it would be XLR, quarter inch. There can be some, maybe a little corrosion or something that might be affecting it. Yeah, we'll show you that as well. But a lot of times if there's problems with TRS or TS quarter inch connections, it's usually just bad prongs or bad wiring. And same thing with RCA. I always suggest getting a can of compressed air. This is great for like dusting out your keyboards and stuff. It's also great for maintaining and keeping dust out of your systems as well. And the other thing you will need is contact cleaner. Alright, so let's get started with cleaning this thing. The first thing you do before you start cleaning any electronics, turn it off. Make sure you have power cut off to the unit and unplug the power. Turn that on, make sure all the power is drained from the boards and capacitors. There we go. Always, always, always turn the device off before you begin cleaning it. Alright, so I've got the straw put in there and took the little tab off, so we are ready to go. So just kind of blow into any open ports, any open holes, anything, and just kind of blow the dust out. And you may not see anything, physically come out, but I guarantee you this is the first step of cleaning anything, because if you have just a little bit of dust sitting on those contacts, that will also cause the sounds that you hear, the crackling and disconnections in the faders and I actually saw quite a bit of dust clear out of those XLR ports. So I'm going to show you on one or two of these faders on how to clean your faders using this contact cleaner. It's very simplistic. Again, make sure the power is turned off to the unit and unplugged. I cannot stress that enough. Alright, so you're just going to take, it doesn't take much, but just put the straw in there. And kind of work on both sides there. And then very quickly after spraying it, move the fader up and down. Gonna press it to the left and right, wiggle it around as you do it. Didn't take a whole lot of effort, but this is what it's called. This is what is called exercising the fader. So it's really working that in. I'm gonna put a little bit more on the bottom here as well. So it's really working it in, getting on both the top and bottom of your contact points. Really working it in. As I said, this isn't hard to do, it's just time consuming because we have to repeat that for all faders, and the bigger the board, the more faders you have. I'm going to do the master as well, it's actually a little bit grimy. also helps to lubricate it as well, because as I said, it was a little grimy and it was sticking a little bit, a little rough to slide it up and down. This also helps with that. Helps it feel a lot smoother. Alright, so we've done all the faders. Now I just want to show you this before we move on. More of that stuff came out. Look at this. Look how nasty that is. All this just came out from just doing the faders. Alright, so next we're going to move on to our pots and potentiometers. So, what you're going to want to do, now I will tell you, you can do a much thorough cleaning, especially the pots, as well as pretty much just everything else, by removing the covers to them. And you would do that by removing all of your little knobs and faders and everything before you ever touch a screw. But you can also do it this way for some light cleaning, but you still need to take all your knobs off. Alright, so here's what you're going to do to clean your pots. And again, you can do a much thorough job if you actually take the time to take all the knobs off, and your fader, all your little plastic things, take the cover off so you can see just the board. But for light cleaning, we can do it this way as well. So you're just going to get right in there, spray a little dab, make sure it gets in there, and then once again, exercise the knob by turning it all the way left, all the way right, repeatedly. And I can already feel it getting a whole lot more loose and lubricated, which is good. So that means all that dirt and grime is getting cleaned out of there, and will make for much smoother and easier operation. So we're going to do the next one. We'll do the pan. And exercise it. Get in there. Yeah, it's loosened up. Look at that. Look how easier it is now. Do it. Just twisting my fingers. And that's it. So just repeat that for all of your knobs. And then we'll move on to, I guess, a button. I'll show you how to clean a button as well as the your input jacks. Alright, so I've gotten all the pots and all the faders clean. As you can see, all the plastic knobs and everything have been taken off. The reason being is because they were kind of grungy and grimy, had oil and stuff on them, on those. So I've actually got them sitting in a bath of rubbing alcohol until I'm done here. That'll help get rid of a lot of dust and loosen up that gunk. And if there's any left on it, then it should just wipe right off. Alright, so as I said, I've got the faders clean, I've got the pots clean, all of them. Took a little while. So now I'm going to show you, I've only got really two buttons on this thing, the phantom power and the on-off power, but I'm going to show you on this button. Sometimes on a lot of these units, these have push-in and out buttons. I mean, this could be on any electronic device. As you jiggle it, you may not even push it in or out, but as you jiggle it, you know, there might be a, like if you have a 100 hertz crossover, or 100 hertz high pass filter, like on your microphones on some mixers, anything like that, there might be a little static as you jiggle it or something, or cutting in and out, depending on what the function is. And that's pretty simple too, really. So just take your contact cleaner, spray it in there, spray a little bit on top too, and then just exercise the button a few times. I like to do things fast. And there you go. So if you ever have any, like I said, any buttons, especially like maybe your power buttons or something, if power just kind of fluctuates and pops or whatever, any of those, that's the thing to do there. Alright, so now I'm going to show you how to clean out your connections, like your quarter inch, your RCA, and your XLR. We're going to start with the XLR here. XLRs are 3-pin, and sometimes you might find as you jiggle the XLR plug or something, it might cut in and out and you know, sound like there's a short in it. And cleaning it out is the best thing to do. So I've got my XLR cable here. I haven't had this problem, but we're going to do it anyways. We're going to do them all because I'm doing everything I would recommend, by the way, what we're doing here, I would recommend doing this at least once a year. If you ever have your equipment out in a dusty gig, especially if you're outdoor or something, clean it right away. Because that way you don't accidentally, you don't have any problems at your next gig or the next time you got to use it. So what we're gonna do, I'm just gonna take just a little spray, put my nozzle right in the hole, quick spray, quick spray, quick spray. And then I'm going to take my XLR plug. I'm just going to plug and unplug it a whole bunch of times. So that's working it in there. I'll do it again because I was not very quick on it. You saw how quickly it evaporated on top there. So spray, spray. Oh. Just like that. Works just as well. Plug and unplug it a bunch of times. And that'll help work it in there, work it on those prongs inside. Also help clean your pins as well. That's just a side bonus. So if there's any light corrosion on your pins or something, it'll help clean that out as well. And that's all there is to it. So it's just all it is, and this goes with pretty much anything. Your faders, pots, connections, any kind of connection, especially moving parts, is just spraying it and exercising it, and that just means moving it, or plugging and unplugging. And your RCAs are the same way. I'm not really worried about these, so I'm just going to spray a little bit in there and just let that work. And then the same thing. Now you can kind of see, like for instance, let's see here. Get to focus. If you kind of look in there, you can kind of see that it's a little it's used, maybe worn. There may be a little something on there, so you can actually do the same thing. Just spray that in there, and then take a 1/4 inch and just plug and unplug, plug and unplug. And that's all there is to it. Alright, so that's pretty much the process of cleaning out your mixer and maintaining it. So, as this dries, I'm going to go ahead and put all the little plastic knobs back on, and then we're going to power it back up and see if we still hear any disconnections or shorts or crackles or any other unwanted sounds in our board. But I will note, ever since cleaning out the faders, especially potentiometers, they were really thick to move, and I mean now it glides so much easily. So it just kind of gives you a hint as to how much grime was probably on those pots, and how just a 1 or 2 little squirts of spray and some exercising really makes a difference. Alright, so let's get all these plastic knobs back on and then get it powered up, and let's see what good we've done. Alright, so it's been about an hour now. Got all the plastic knobs put back on. As you can see, they're much cleaner than what they were. I went ahead and took the time to really try and clean it up, make it look a lot nicer than it was, just because I had extra time on my hands, so why not? And I had to wait for for the internals to dry off too, and evaporate that contact cleaner. But now the time has come to plug this thing back in and see if we still hear any unwanted noises. Oh, that feels so smooth. Still getting a little noise out of this, so I might need to go back and clean that a little bit better. Because again, I never use it, so. But it's not nearly as bad, and it operates a lot smoother. But let's see here. So now it's no crackles at all. Very clean. Alright, let's go down the list of faders. No crackling. Let's try our gain. Super smooth. Absolutely no sound. Balance. far left, far right, nothing. High, mid, low, nothing. Clean. Alright, so there is a little bit of noise in there, which I honestly kind of expected. This is the one I had trouble with, so I might need to just go through and do it, clean it out a couple, 2 or 3 more times just to get it really thorough. But way better than it was, for sure. No crackling, no crackling, nothing, 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 nothing. So this one channel, I just need to go back and clean a little bit more thorough, but everything else sounds perfect. Alright, so that's the process of cleaning and maintaining your analog equipment. Like I said, this does not just go for mixers like this with faders. Anything that's got knobs like this, the same process. Take your little plastic piece off, squirt a little bit in there, exercise it. So your gates, compressors, crossovers, equalizers, your graphic EQs. If you use graphic EQs and that may need to be cleaned out. Again, it's just going to be time consuming, but it's basically the same thing as the fader. Just squirt a little bit on top, a little bit on bottom, exercise each individual slider for that frequency range, and then that'll clean that out. So this is quite applicable to pretty much any analog equipment that you might have. And it's actually not just analog equipment, digital equipment as well. While it does operate a little bit differently than analog, your parts sometimes are still the same. So your digital faders, they're instead of changing your signal line, they are creating a data variable on the computer that's basically running it. But it's still, everything still applies the same. And again, just as always, and I'll stress it again, make sure you turn off and unplug the unit before you begin cleaning and maintaining it, and then make sure to give it plenty of time for it to dry out before you ever plug power back into it and turn it back on. Alright, so that's it for this video. Hopefully you found this helpful. If you have any other questions or comments, please leave it in the comment section below. If you have any ideas for any other videos or tutorials you'd like to see us do, or maybe even any problems that you'd like to help find solutions for, we can possibly explore that and find a solution together. And I'll see what I can do for making a video for you there. It can be complex, or it can be very, very simple. I'm always open for ideas for, again, tutorials, because even the beginner DJs and audio fanatics or inspiring AV techs, they need someone to learn from and somewhere to learn from. So even if it's something simple, I plan to help with it. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.